One lens will give you a more intimate portrait, while the other one will tell a better story. What lenses are we talking about? Hello everyone, this is Ernesto with Aftershoot, and today we're comparing two timeless classics. It is the eternal battle between two of the most popular focal lengths in photography history. In this video, we're going to compare the versatile 35mm lens with the fan favorite 50mm lens. What are they good for, and which one should you go for? The first topic we have to cover is field of view and what that does to your storytelling, because yeah, we're shooting stills, but those photos are supposed to tell a story. And since 35mm is wider, it gives you a wider field of view and you get to see more of your subject's surroundings. Sure, you can walk closer to your client and get a tighter shot, but we'll discuss later why that might not be the greatest of ideas. 50mm on the other side is a much tighter lens. What I mean is it gives you a closer view of your subject, and by doing so, it pulls the viewer's attention straight to the person. You will see some of the environment, and depending on your distance from the subject, you will see more or less of this environment, but this isn't a focal length that you normally choose when you want to show the surroundings. If you go for a 50mm lens, you're definitely wanting a closer look at your client. When it comes to portraits, 35mm is great when you want to include the environment, the location, the outfit, the mood. 50mm on the other side is ideal for classic portraits in tighter compositions where the background doesn't really matter that much because, as we'll see in a bit, it will turn out to be blurrier. Think of it like this. 35mm tells the story of the person and 50mm tell the story of the face. Okay, but what's the big deal here? What if I get a 35mm lens and just walk closer to the subject? Or maybe I do the opposite. What if I get a 50mm lens and just walk away from my client? Will I get the same photo? Not at all. And that's important to know. When using a 35mm lens, if you get too close to your subject, you will exaggerate their features. Their noses will get longer, their faces rounder, and their smiles when they see the photos will get sadder. Let me just show you. This is a 35mm lens shooting this frame right now. The idea is to show a bit of my office and where I'm at. But if I were to get closer, my beautiful features will get distorted. And trust me, this is not what you really want because my nose does not look like that. And my head is definitely not an alien head. 50mm keeps proportions more natural. It's closer to what the human eye can see, so faces look balanced and flattering. This is a lens that you can comfortably use and get closer to someone, not expecting to warp their features. And that's why 35mm works perfectly for full body or half body shots, but for tight headshots, the 50mm focal length is always gonna look better. Take this frame of the video as an example. I told you I was shooting at 35mm before, but now I'm at 50mm. You see the difference? You see how one frame is way closer than the other? The camera's still in the same spot it always was, and check how my features don't get as distorted when I get closer to the 50mm lens. But since the idea of me shooting in my office is also to show a bit of the space I work in, I go for the 35mm rather than the 50mm. But what about background separation? What if both lenses are f1.8? I should get the same background blur, right? It's the same aperture, so same blurriness? Well, no. Here's the rule of thumb. When it comes to lenses, the wider field of view, the less the background separation you'll get. And the longer the focal length, the more background blur. Just remember that wider lenses tend to give less blurry backgrounds. So how does that affect our portraits? Well, since more things are going to be in focus with a 35mm lens, that gives you a little more depth, keeps more of the environment visible. It is perfect when you want to get a sense of the place. And since you're already getting most of the environment in your photo because of the wider field of view, well, the combination just goes as well as ketchup and french fries. 50mm on the other side delivers a much smoother bokeh and better subject isolation. It's great for when you want that clean, dreamy look. With a 50mm, your background will always be blurrier. So if you're chasing a creamy background and you want separation, the 50mm lens is the winner. If you want context, more of the scene, more of movement, then the 35mm brings it all in. Now here's something portrait photographers don't always think about, and that's the distance from the photographer to the subject. Hear me out. If you're working with models, then there's no issue. Models know what to do, but since not everyone is a model, then not everyone feels or behaves the same way in front of the camera. So since each lens allows you to have a different distance from your subject, which one should you use and why. When it comes to focal distance, 35 millimeters might make some people feel a little nervous since you'll be a little closer to them. Or maybe you can do the opposite. Maybe you being closer to them will give them more confidence because you can guide them better, you can talk them through the photo shoot. And something similar can happen with a 50 millimeter lens. Since you are a bit further from your client, they might feel a little scared or exposed, or maybe the opposite. Maybe distance helps them feel more relaxed. It all comes down to how you deal with the situation and how well you can read people. This is important. As photographers, we have to learn to read the situation and act in a way that we get the best result out of it. Okay, so this is the part of the video where I tell you that you decide which one's right for you and there's no right answer and blah, 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 right? Well, not quite. This is actually a part of the video where I recommend that you try both lenses and you decide which one goes better with your style. That's it for today. Both lenses are great, they both have their moment, and they can both produce amazing results. As always, don't forget to follow Aftershoot in all of our social media to be always up to date with the latest we have to offer. See you all in the next one. Bye.